Hi guys, welcome back to Kick It with Ken, our Mental Health Awareness Month mini-series. Today we have a very special guest, professional women's hockey player and Olympian, Sophie Jaques. Sophie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And so for those of you who don't know, please get to know Sophie's one of the most dominant defenders in women's hockey. She graduated from Ohio State with a master's in civil engineering, two-time Walter Cup champion, Patty Kazmaier Award winner, first Black woman to do so, Olympic silver medalist, just to name a few. So, Sophie, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to get to be here.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So I know I DM'd you on Instagram and was just trying to figure out times to get this set up. So appreciate you taking the time. I know you're just coming off of the Olympics, so I want to start there. You just coming back from your first ever Olympic Games, which is so amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, seeing your name on that Olympic roster, I can imagine like you being someone who grew up playing hockey. The women's national team is historic. So finally being in the Olympic Village, I'm seeing your TikTok of your like gear hauls and stuff like that. And like, having the walkout ceremony. How did it feel to be at the Olympics representing Canada?
Yeah, it was truly such a special moment. I think like growing up as a kid, watching the Olympics here in Vancouver in 2010 to watching the women's and men's team win gold, it was just so cool to get to see that and to like dream to get to be a part of it. So I think kind of in my hockey career, I've always wanted to make the Olympics. I never knew it was going to be possible and this soon. So I think really my time at Ohio State really developed me to get this opportunity to get to make the Olympic team this year. And just getting the call that I made the team was so special. I was almost like in shock. It was actually funny. We found out like over Teams with everyone traveling everywhere and the hotel Wi-Fi was down. Like I couldn't connect. I ended up being late to my call to find out if I made the team. Me realizing like all the hard work had paid off and I was grateful for everyone who supported me to get there. And then just actually getting to the actual Olympics, like it didn't feel real until I was like on the plane there and getting to see everything in person. And starting with the opening ceremonies, like just walking out and hearing Canada get called, like you see it on TV and then you don't even realize like what it's like to get to be there in person. And with the TikTok side of things, all my friends were nagging me. They're like, Sophie, you have to post. Like, we want to know.
Yeah,
we want to know what's going on.
People do want to know. So
definitely got into my TikTok phase there for a minute, but there was just so many cool things to see around the village. I mean, I really got into like the pin trading with all the different countries there. It was cool to try to trade with everyone and get to bring home like different pieces from everyone. But just overall, it was such a great experience.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's just so amazing to like have that dream come to fruition. So yeah, that's amazing. And I know there's only more to come for you. And so, being that Canada women's hockey has this legacy behind them, they always perform, they always do well. And, we see them time again at the Olympics, medaling and being on the podium. This being your first Olympics, how do you handle that pressure and expectation, just knowing that this is a team that we want to win, we want to do well, and just walking into that in your first Olympic Games, like what's your mind state going into that?
Yeah, I think I was definitely nervous heading into it, but I think what gave me the confidence was knowing that they chose me to be on that team and just the veteran presence that we had on that team, and just starting from the decor with Joss and Renata, like some of the older defensemen, just giving us so much guidance and confidence. I think that just as a whole group, everyone there had so much confidence in me. I think that's what really allowed me to play my best and kind of we had a big thing about like everyone is there for a unique reason and just to be your best version of yourself. Like we don't need anyone to be more than that. So I think that really resonated me. And I think that I did a good job of just being there and being present in the moment.
And I think it's so important, like just being present and being there, like you said, and having those older players like take you under their wing and being able to be like, show you the ropes of it. So I think that allows you to be comfortable and just be in the moment. So that's amazing. You said in an interview with Olympics.com that this would be one of the best women's ice hockey tournament that has ever been seen because the PWHL has raised the standard everywhere. So what was it like being a part of that shift in women's hockey and being at this Olympics, knowing that it's going to be the best of the best, and you're playing against all the best players because of the PWHL, and it's raising the standard?
Yeah, I think it was just great to see the depth between all the countries. In a lot of past events, it's usually a Canada and US final, and it's usually this Canada and US kind of easily win all their games to get to that point. But just seeing the depth between all the other countries, like I think the Czech Republic is one that's really come far with the PWHL. Like they have so many players in the league and so many who I've been teammates with and who are great hockey players and great people. And just this league, I think, has kind of allowed all the countries to get that best on best competition year round and allowing everyone to develop. And I think it just go to show at the Olympics, like with Italy being a host country and getting the auto bid and making the quarterfinals, and then Sweden upsetting to make it to the quarterfinals, and our semifinal with Switzerland's a 1-goal game. Like it really just showed how much it's elevated, and truly any game was anybody's game on any given day. Like you had to put your best foot forward. And I think like as a competitor, that just made it such a more fun experience, just knowing that the compete was there every single day.
Exactly. And like you said earlier, before we started filming, like 5 of you guys were on the Olympic team and you had 3 other teammates who were repping other countries. So I think that's also amazing and so good for our Vancouver Golden Eyes. So I want to talk about the final game. Obviously, Canada was behind you, watching you guys progress, waking up early to support the games. And I know us at Vancouver Rise, we had the game on early before training, the gold medal match. And so knowing that the rivalry between Canada and the US has been so longstanding, and you're finally playing in that game, and, you know, the magnitude of that moment, what is it like waking up that morning, getting to the game, you know, whistle blows, game starts? How are you feeling in that moment?
Yeah, I think definitely that whole day, like we were counting down my roommate at the Olympics was Daryl Watts, another first-time Olympian, and we were just like counting down the days till the moment we got to get on the ice. And I think with how the season had played out with Team Canada, we hadn't beat the US once all season. We hadn't even come close to beating the US once all season. So I think we kind of went into that game with the mindset as we have absolutely nothing to lose. Like there's no point in playing scared, no point in playing nervous, because like whatever happens, happens, and we have nothing to lose at this point. So I think we kind of entered the game with that mentality. And I think as a group, we didn't lose faith or confidence in one another. And I think that really showed, because I think that game was our best game all season, and we put our best foot forward and have no regrets about it. And I was just really grateful to get to be a part of it.
Right. And so even though maybe it didn't end the way you guys hoped for, but like you said, you had nothing to lose and it was your best game all season. And I know that Canada was so proud of you guys. Millions of people tuning into that game, sold out crowd, and just being in that moment, it was probably something so special. And I know that you only have more to come. You'll probably have more Olympics to come. So your future is looking bright. So I'm really excited for you. A lot of athletes talk about post-Olympic blues, which is like the emotional crash many athletes face after the Olympics, after like months and years of training and preparation to reach this pinnacle moment. And then you get home, whether you win or lose, and having a sense of like emptiness or loss of purpose, lack of motivation. Is this something that you've experienced?
Yeah, I think I definitely experienced that this year. I think kind of just the anticipation leading up to the Olympics, it was like the PWHL was going on, and we were grateful to be a part of Vancouver and here and present in that sense of things. But making the Olympic team and getting to go to Milan was obviously one of the ultimate goals of the season. So I think once it all kind of came to an end, it was kind of a bit of a shock, and like I was just hit with like a complete wave of exhaustion. Like it was like the time change for sure was messing me up. And then just getting back and like knowing we still like we were just only halfway through the PWHL season. So it was like we still had a lot left. And I think for me, what kind of helped me get out of that funk was my teammates here in Vancouver who weren't at the Olympics and who had been training and waiting for us to get back and were like so excited for our return. It's like made me want to do it for them, for our fans who have been waiting to cheer us on. And I think that the group I had surrounding me really helped me to kind of get out of that post-Olympic kind of funk.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's so important to like have those people around you who are able to lift you up and get you back to yourself. So it's good that you had that support around you. I want to go back into like where it all started for you. Who got you into hockey, and like where did your love for the game start?
Yeah, so I grew up in Toronto
Mhm,
and my parents put me in hockey for the first time.
mhm.
We had a ton of outdoor rinks around my house, so my parents first signed me up for learn to skate
Mhm.
at a little outdoor rink at a little park by my
Yeah.
house, and then I kind of fell in love with skating and being outside, and the next year they put me in learn to play hockey at
Mhm,
that same outdoor rink, so I had
mhm,
a lot of fun, and I think my love for the game really came from just backdoor rinks and skating outside in the
mhm.
winter, and one of my neighbors across the street, like, put a little rink in their backyard, and I would
Wow.
just spend hours out there as a kid with my
Mhm.
toes frozen and
Yeah.
my parents like, "Sophie, you gotta come back home." So
Yeah,
I
right.
think that's where I really fell in love with the game.
Mhm. That's amazing, and I saw that you said in an interview that you grew up playing with boys as well, and so how do you think that helped your development growing up?
Yeah, I think for me, it helped me out. Obviously, like when I first started, the girls' game wasn't as popular,
Mhm,
and for sure, getting into the boys' side, I think really helped me grow as a person, and I think it helped me to work on my confidence because I was a bit of a standout, being
mhm.
the only girl on the
Yeah.
team, and just proved to myself that I could keep up with the guys and was able to be there. I think that it was great for my career.
For sure, and I think, like, sometimes when you're growing up playing with boys, you're kinda nervous. I grew up playing with boys as well, but it's like they don't wanna pass you the ball if they don't respect you, you know what I mean? So, like, getting that confidence, being able to, like, play faster, like, having to think quicker, and so I think that helps a lot. How would you describe younger Sophie as a player?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, it's kind of funny because when I
Mhm.
played boys hockey, I was like a defensive defender,
Mhm.
like didn't really do much offensively. And I
Yeah.
think once I transitioned to girls hockey,
Mhm.
that's when I really became really offensive.
Mhm.
I think definitely when I was in the boys game, I think I was just like a fast all around defender.
Mhm.
Like I like to skate up and down the ice. And
Yeah.
I think then, yeah, once I came to the girls side, I think I was more of an offensive
Mhm.
defenseman.
And was there, like, a moment where you felt like, "Okay, I might be able to take this far," or, "I could see this as a career for myself," or, "This is something I love hockey, this is something that I wanna do." Did you ever have that mindset, or you were just playing just for fun?
Yeah, I
Mhm,
honestly think I just really loved the game and
mhm,
was playing for fun. Like, I loved the teammate side of things, like,
mhm,
just getting to be with my friends, and I think that I did end up going to, like, a sports high school where I
mhm.
really got to play hockey a lot more and work on skills and
Okay.
stuff during the day, so I think then I was kinda like, hockey is really something I wanna do, but honestly, it wasn't until university where I was really like, "Oh, hockey can potentially be a career for me." Like,
Mhm.
when I first entered university, I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna play hockey while I get my degree, and then
Right.
I'll head into the workforce after that." But I'm very happy kind of the PWHL came to be, and that wasn't the path I ended up taking.
For sure, and so you went to Ohio State and, you know, made that jump to college hockey. What was that transition like for you? Is there a difference between, like, American hockey culture, Canadian hockey culture? Like, what was that transition like for you?
Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest adjustments there was just obviously going to a new school and having all the school and then the hockey side of things, and I think for me, the biggest adjustment was, like, how much more consistently you practice with your team, like,
Mhm,
you practice, like, 4 days a week and then
mhm.
play 2 games on the weekend, so
Yeah.
just the sheer volume of hockey and just the higher level of, like, thinking of the game, like, that was the first time I kinda started doing video and,
Mhm,
like, scouting teams and, like, learning more specific systems, so
mhm.
I think definitely kind of the more, like, mental side of hockey was the biggest adjustment for me there, and I
Yeah.
think I was fortunate enough my freshman year, I got paired up with a defender named Jinsey Dunn, who
Mhm,
had a ton of experience and was a
mhm,
great player, and I think she really took me under her wing my freshman year and
mhm.
really allowed me to develop as a player in my first year there.
Yeah, that's amazing, and, you know, you said that, you know, you were just gonna kinda get your degree and work after, but you experienced a lot of success at Ohio State. Like, me doing my research on you, it's like, wow, like, 2nd all-time defender scoring at Ohio State, tied Ohio State's single-season scoring record, which is also the 2nd all-time for a defender in NCAA history. Named both 2022 WCHA Defender of the Year and Outstanding Student Athlete, named NCAA Frozen Four All Tournament Team, and WCHA Final Faceoff MVP. So, experiencing a lot of success, like, do you feel like the expectations and pressure, did that ever change for you? Did you ever feel like it was too much to always keep outperforming yourself, or were you just, like, growing and having that support that allowed you to be so successful?
Yeah, I think throughout my college career, I definitely had a lot of like highs and lows. I
Mhm.
think my first 2 years, I was really strong and kind of build it off there. And then for my junior year, COVID kind of hit and I had
Mm.
like one of my worst seasons.
Okay.
And then I was able to come back strong for my senior year. And I think that was kind of my breakout season where I
Mhm.
accomplished a lot of those things
Yeah,
that
for
you
sure.
listed.
Mhm.
And then I think definitely heading into my fifth year, there was a lot of nerves surrounding like, can I do that again? And
Mhm.
kind of wanting to prove to people that it wasn't a fluke, that I was able to like put up all those points and play that
Mhm.
kind of game. So I think definitely just kind of knowing the line of like resetting versus like training all summer. And I
Mhm.
think I did a good job of like taking the time off that I needed and then coming back just as strong for my fifth year. And I was able to prove to people that it wasn't a fluke and
Mhm.
kind of put on another good season to end my career.
Yeah, and what was kind of the mentality, like you said, having to prove to people? Was it a sense of, I'm just gonna play for me and just try to play my best hockey, or how do you differentiate the 2?
Yeah, I think it was kind of just playing for me, playing for my teammates. I
Mhm.
think my class as a core, through our time there at Ohio State, we kind of like really the program really developed from committing there. They were like a less than 500 team, and my senior year we won that first ever national championship
Mhm.
there. So I think
Amazing.
just like building off that legacy of the girls that came before you, and just like how much fun pride we had in being a Buckeye and representing
Right.
the team. I think
Mhm.
that was one of my biggest motivators, and just like
Mhm.
try not to think about it too much because like I knew my teammates didn't care whether I scored goals or not. Like we
Right.
were always having a good time and
Mhm.
winning games
Yeah,
together.
and I think that will either, like, make or break your college career, like, having that support, having people around you that believe in you, so I'm really glad that you had that and had that experience, and so while you're at Ohio State, achieving all of this on the ice, you're also getting your master's in civil engineering, which is not an easy degree to achieve, and, like, you got all these awards for also being, such a great student as well, and so how were you able to balance the 2?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, it wasn't too difficult for me to balance because
Mhm.
I kind of used them both as an escape for each other. So
Mhm.
like if I had a tough day at like in class, it was
Mhm.
like I got to go to have practice and have fun
Yeah.
with my friends. And then on the flip side of things, if things weren't going well for hockey, I
Mhm.
could hang out in the classroom and see my friends and
Mhm.
do well on that side of things. And I
Mhm.
think that honestly, it was a bit of time management. Like, I always made sure to get things done so I wouldn't be missing out on any, like, social activities with
Yeah.
friends and
Uh-huh.
hanging out with everyone, and in my undergrad, one of my professors, his name was Mark McCord,
Mhm.
he kinda took me under his wing and kinda mentored me, and he's
Amazing.
the one that really, like, motivated me to get my master's. I
Mhm.
ended up doing, like, a fellowship with him, and he
Mhm.
helped me with my thesis,
Oh,
so
wow.
he was just, like, someone who really took me under his wing, and
Mhm.
I really just fell in love with, like, engineering and the work and that
Mhm.
side of things, so it kinda, like I was enjoying both so much, I think that's what made it, work for me.
Mhm. And I also saw when you did the, interview with Olympic.com, how you said, there was a lot of transferable skills between, the masters in civil engineering and hockey, like, how you had to be a problem solver, how you had to adjust to things, and you even said that your dream job would be to, like, design an Olympic village, and I think that's just so amazing and just showing athletes that they can do both and be high achieving at both, so I think you're such a great representation of that, so, yeah, amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I want to switch over to your pro career. You were drafted 10th overall, being the first Black woman to be drafted in the PWHL to Boston in Toronto, which was where the draft was held. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, I think it was a really special moment. I mean, the draft was literally 10 minutes from my house where
Mhm.
my hockey career all
Yeah.
started in
Mhm.
Toronto. My parents were there with me that day. I
Mhm.
think definitely being the inaugural draft, it was a bit crazy with
Mhm.
like the sheer number of people in the draft
Yeah.
and no teams having really any players other than the three foundational signings and
Mhm.
just not knowing what's going to happen or where you're going to go. And I
Yeah.
think for me too, like not knowing where I was ranked amongst these players, like
Mhm.
because I was coming out of college, some girls had been in pro, so like
Yeah.
not really knowing what was going to happen. And I think just like the excitement surrounding the league, I
Mhm.
think hearing my name get called for Boston, I was
Mhm.
ecstatic. Like Boston's such a fun city. I
Mhm.
was just so happy to be there,
Mhm.
and having my parents there to cheer me on, I think was a really special moment getting to walk up on that stage.
Right, and I think like you said, it's kind of full circle having it in Toronto where you started, like, being the little kid in the rinks and, being drafted in Toronto, so I think that's so special, and so you started your career in Boston and then were traded to Minnesota. What was the transition like from going from college to pro?
Yeah, I think definitely the jump from college to pro, I really struggled at the start in Boston. I
Okay.
think for me, it was a bit of a mental battle because
Mhm.
I was like thinking, oh my gosh, these players are so good. Like,
Mhm.
how can I adjust my game? Like, I
Mhm.
need to just sit back and kind of play like a defensive style of
Mhm.
hockey to try to minimize risk of making any mistakes. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I ran into a barrier until
Mhm.
I like kind of really thought about it. And I was like, no, like I'm here for a reason. Like I am just as good
Mhm.
as these other players. And I think the trade kind of came as a shock to me. Like it
Mhm.
was the first trade in league history. Like we
Yeah.
didn't really know that
Mhm.
trades were possible at
Mhm.
all. But looking back on it, like getting to Minnesota and then getting all the opportunity that I got there, I
Mhm.
think that really helped kickstart my confidence and
Right.
allowed me to really like form into the player I've been the past few years in this league.
Right, and being able to be at Boston, getting a taste of, like, what it's like switching over to Minnesota, and now you are kinda getting into the groove, found that confidence, and ultimately playing Boston in the final to win the first Walter Cup, becoming Walter Cup champion, which is amazing, and then to do it again the next year, two-time back-to-back Walter Cup champion, like, we just won it with Vancouver last year, so I'm trying to run it back. I'm trying to get like you, like, so I might need some tips, but, like, what did that moment feel like to win it and know that this is the inaugural season and there's just so much to come for the PWHL and it's just the beginning? Like, how did you feel to win it all?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think definitely for me personally, it was kind of like another full circle moment because with the timing of the trade, like we
Mhm.
didn't go back to Boston at all. So like that
Okay.
playoff series was my first time back in Boston
Wow.
since being traded and
Mhm.
starting on that team. And I think just like for me personally, that first season, like looking at some of the older girls like Kendall Coyne Schofield and
Mhm.
like the work they put in to make this league possible
Yeah.
and to like get to lift that inaugural cup is like something you could never take away from our group. I just remember our coach saying that like in the locker room after he's like, you'll never forget this.
Mhm.
Like no one can ever take it away from you guys that you were able to win that
Yeah.
first Walter Cup. And I
Mhm.
think it was just a special moment. I'm honestly in the moment I didn't realize how big it was. And I
Mhm.
think it was just so much bigger than our team. And it just represented all the girls that came before us and played for years without getting pay and in harsh conditions
Mhm.
to make it possible for us to be in that position.
Exactly, and, going into year 2, winning it again, what do you think you learned from year 1 to year 2? You said you had that confidence and just going into that next season, what all went into achieving that?
Yeah, I think for me heading into that next season, I definitely came in a lot more confident and
Mhm.
ready to play. I think too, just like training with a lot of the girls in the league in the summer, like
Mhm.
that was my first full summer, like training with all of them and
Mhm.
being around them so much more. I just felt so much more comfortable in the environment
Yeah.
and just carrying that confidence over into that next season, I think really helped me to succeed. I think though, in that second season, I had my first like real injury where I
Mhm.
was like put onto long term injury
Yeah.
reserve and like had a realized for the first time
Mhm.
that I wasn't like untouchable.
Yeah.
But then coming back for that and finding my confidence again, I
Mhm.
think, really helped me throughout that season.
Right, and so you made the move to Vancouver as Vancouver was the new expansion team. What was it like coming back home and to Canada and being able to play for the first Vancouver team?
Yeah, I think definitely it was sad to leave Minnesota with
Mhm.
all the history we had there and
Yeah.
just such a great team and staff over there to
Mhm.
be a part of. But with the opportunity to come to a great city like Vancouver and
Mhm.
be back in Canada, I think the Canadian markets have done so well from a fan base and the
Mhm.
support out here. I was just so excited, like from the moment I signed with Vancouver, how excited everyone is about here, and just even just at our arena, like seeing all the branding and having our logo on the ice is just so special that
Mhm.
it's just been awesome to get to represent this city.
Yeah, and our team was actually at your guys' season opener last year in November, and it was just so amazing to see the rink packed out with all the boys, girls, men, women who were there to support you guys. The game was amazing. Like that was honestly that I'm not gonna lie, that was my first in-person like hockey game to go to. And being that it was for Vancouver, supporting women's sports, like it was just amazing. And I'm definitely a fan. Definitely need a jersey for a game day fit this year. Like the jerseys are actually tough. So yeah, it was just such a cool experience to be a part of. And I feel like it's such an exciting time for like women's sports in Vancouver. So that was really cool to watch and be a part of. I want to switch over to like the mental side of things. From the outside looking in, you are a player that's experienced a lot of success and done so well in your careers, but people don't always see what's going on internally. So can you take me through a moment in your career where you felt like you were struggling mentally and how you were able to just get out of that?
Yeah. I think for me, honestly, the first time that kind of happened to me, my career was in university.
Mhm,
Like, just the frequency of how sometimes things weren't going our way and just like kind of dreading going to the rink every single day. And
mhm,
I think for me, what helped me was like taking a step back and focusing on things in life outside of hockey.
mhm,
Like at that time, it was school, but now I use things like going for a walk, exploring new cities, like trying a new
right,
dinner spot, or just
mhm,
like hanging out with friends. And I think for me, I really found that, like, just taking a step back and knowing that people appreciate me for more than just being a hockey player, I
right.
think really helps me to, like, overcome those times.
And I think, like, especially in college when you're, like, still figuring who you are as a person and, like, hockey being something that you've done your whole life, it's easy to just be like, on good days, things are great, or on bad things, it's like, dang, like, not going well. So, um, it is important to just be able to take a step back and have other things that also bring you joy outside of your sport too. So I think that's really important. And so how would you say you deal with pressure now compared to earlier in your career?
Yeah, I think when it comes to pressure, at the start of my career, I obviously would get very nervous and
Mhm,
like in my own head about it.
mhm,
And I think now it's kind of just like embracing that pressure. And for me, I find just like focusing on the little things well. Like
mhm,
if I'm nervous heading into a game, like just getting on the ice for that first shift, dumping the puck in deep,
mhm,
keeping things simple. I
mhm,
think just getting myself into it,
mhm.
I think really has helped me manage a lot of the pressure scenarios that I've been a part of.
Right. And so what would you say what does taking care of your mental health look like today for you?
Yeah, I think for me, it just means resetting,
Mhm,
knowing when hockey is too much for me and
mhm,
just taking that time away from the rink. Obviously, not to like take away from our team or
mhm,
anything, but like knowing when we have an off day to truly like treat it like an off day and
mhm.
take care of myself
For
and
sure.
just take that time to like reset personally.
For sure. And I want to go into Sophie's Sisters. Sophie's Sisters is a community program created by you to support and encourage young girls of color to get involved in the sport of hockey. What inspired you to create this?
Yeah, I think where this program kind of stemmed from is our organization, Women of Color Hockey Collective,
Mhm,
formerly Black Girl Hockey Club
mhm,
Canada. Over the past few summers, like since I graduated from college, we run an annual summer camp in
mhm,
Toronto, and where we just invite for free like young girls of color to come out and get to play hockey for the
mhm,
weekend with tons of girls that look like them, and just seeing the community that's developed from those girls grow over years and
mhm,
years. I knew that definitely I wanted to like continue that work out here in Vancouver.
mhm,
And talking to Soroya, that's where we kind of came up with the idea of Sophie's Sisters and just getting more young girls of color into the game, like whether or not they're players or
mhm,
they're just coaches or want to be involved, a spectator of the
mhm,
sport. I think that it's just really important for them to get that opportunity. So I think Sophie Sisters is a great way to like get them out to maybe their first PWHL game and get them to see other girls that look like them, because I think representation does matter, and
mhm,
just getting them, because if they can see it, they can believe it. And I think one of the most impactful parts of it for me is after the game, I get to go up to there and chat with
mhm,
the girls, and I'm always like, oh no, what am I going to talk to them
mhm.
about? But they've always been asking such meaningful questions
Right.
about the game and things I've experienced. So I'm
Mhm.
really just happy when I get to spend the time with them.
Right. And I feel like this is something that's so important because there is a lack of diversity in the sport. And you see, like in the Olympics, that was the first time ever there's three black girls playing against each other in an Olympic final, like Sarah Nurse becoming the first Black Canadian to win a gold medal, and you being the first, like, there's a lot of firsts, you being the first Black girl drafted into PWHL, first Black girl to win the Patty Kazmaier Award. So I do think, like you said, if we can see it, we can see that it's possible. And I think you are such a great representation of that. And so how do you think something like this would have helped your younger self?
Yeah, I think it definitely would have been great for my younger self in developing my confidence a lot more early on in my career. I feel like I was always an outcast of the rink, like being the only Black player and then often being the only girl on my team for the first part of my career. I think that it would have definitely made me feel a lot more comfortable at times and more comfortable like opening up to things. I think would have, been great for my younger self.
For sure. And so what do you hope to build and create from this program?
Yeah, I honestly just hope to build a community. I hope to encourage more girls to get involved in hockey or just sports in general, girls of color, like always looking for them to be around the rink. So I think just if I can motivate like one more girl to be involved in hockey, I think that will have accomplished what I want from this program.
For sure. And I think you're definitely on the path to doing that. Like even me being at the first season opener last year, I'm like, wow, if I was a little girl watching this, I definitely want to get involved and play. And, you know, it was just such an amazing environment to be in, and to have you guys as role models is something that's so amazing. And so what advice would you give to younger Sophie?
Ooh. I think if I were speaking to younger Sophie, I would say to just live in the moment and enjoy it and just trust the process. Like things aren't always going to go your way, but if you stick with it, like things will work out.
Right, for sure. And my last question, what would you say to any girl in the sport that's struggling with their mental health?
I would say reach out to someone. There's for sure someone else that's been through what you've been through or is going through what you're going through. So just knowing that you're not alone and there's people who want to help you and support you, but they sometimes might not be able to see that. So just making sure you're reaching out to get the help that you need.
Right. And I feel like reaching out, there's so many resources out there. Being able to have those resources will help anyone struggling. So yeah, great advice. And Sophie, I want to thank you so much for being here today. It's been amazing speaking with you and learning more about your journey and just who you are. I think you're such an inspiring person. With the trajectory of your career, we're only going to keep seeing more of you, and it's just so exciting to, you know, hear your story and see what's next for you. So we wish you all the best, but thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me.